What's up guys, Yegi here. Those of you that are new to this channel, welcome. This channel is all about eyelash extensions. I am a master lash artist and educator, and I own my own product line for eyelash extensions and all that good stuff. So I have like over 15 years of experience in the eyelash extension industry, and I'm here to support you guys and build a lash community where we can all grow and learn together. Things are always evolving and changing, so it's so fun to watch these tutorials and talk with you guys, see what else is out there. Today's tutorial is basically volume 101. So if you are new to lashing and you want to do a volume set, this is a great set for you. This is a set that you can use pre-made fans with, and we chose the 60 C-curl pre-made fans in order to create this volume look. So this is a longer look because that's what our client wanted. And a fun thing about this look is she has a twin sister that we did a more natural look, so you guys can see them side by side and see what a classic and a volume look would look on the same person. So it's kind of fun to analyze that. But we are doing a cat eye. We're gonna go from 9 millimeters all the way to 15, and we're gonna taper down to 14 in the outer corner. Now, what other thing is fun about this tutorial is that we will break down pretty much all the things you need to do to have a successful volume set. So go ahead and watch this tutorial. Let me know what you think. And a lot of people kind of look down upon the pre-made fans, but honestly, these pre-made fans are amazing. They have great retention, which means if you do put them on correctly, they will last you to 6 to 8 weeks. They have a long root, they bond beautifully, they're soft. I could go on. So if you have not had good luck with pre-made fans, these are the ones you need to try because they really make a beautiful volume set without the effort of making your handmade fans. Well, let's jump into the tutorial. Here's a before of Nicole's eyelashes. The first thing we're going to do is we're going to tape down her bottom lashes using the Yegi hydrating under eye patches, white tape, and then clear tape over it. This is our taping method in order to make sure that we get all the bottom lashes nice and secure, and also we have a nice smooth surface on top so our tweezers can glide and make isolation as easy as possible. Now, don't forget, you can use your tweezers and adjust the corners of the eyelashes to make sure that no top eyelash is stuck underneath. Next, we're going to use the lip wands and the Yegi primer in order to prime her eyelashes. We're going to go from corner to corner using one from above, one from below to make sure all her natural eyelashes are covered with primer. After that is set, we are going to map out the design we decided for her on the under eye patch. Lastly, we're going to make sure the eyelashes are nice and dry after the primer before we start applying the extensions. We are using a moon-shaped tweezer to isolate for her and also an L-shaped tweezer to apply since it is a volume set. However, you can use any tweezer that you feel comfortable with. But for volume lashes, you do want a bigger base of a tweezer so you can grab your whole fan without messing it up. The key thing with isolation, again, remember, is to make sure that you have one natural eyelash in between those tweezers. So when you go and apply the extension on top, it is going to be attached to one natural eyelash. If more eyelashes are stuck together, that's how we can damage the client's natural eyelashes. Our sets can look messy and all that stuff that we do not want. Pay attention to where we're placing the isolation tweezer. It is closer to the base of the client's natural eyelashes, so we can open it wide and allow ourselves more space to glue the extension. If our isolation is not open wide and it's not clear, it's going to be harder to glue the extension nicely on top of the eyelash. Our goal is to apply extensions on every single one of her natural eyelashes. We are going to go one by one and make sure that they all have extensions. Now, if a client wants a more natural look, it doesn't mean you put less on their natural eyelashes, but you put a smaller fan or you do a hybrid or a classic set for that client. But in this case, since she does want a full volume look and we want to go for the dramatic look for her, we are going to apply our volume fans, these are the 60 pre-made fans on every single one of her natural lashes. Now you can jump around the eye as you're applying. You don't have to go one by one next to each other. I find this easier because it gives some of the eyelashes time to dry before they stick together. Even with a fast drying adhesive, if you are an advanced lash artist and you are lashing pretty quickly, they do tend to get more stuck together if you go kind of from corner to corner. So if you go and apply the extensions side by side. So that's why I like to jump around, but a lot of people do also like to go in order, so see what you prefer. So since these are already pre-made fans, you can apply them a lot quicker than hand making the fan. Now keep in mind that even though that they are pre-made fans, the retention doesn't necessarily get worse with it. So there is some misconception that if you're using pre-made fans, you may not have as good retention, but that's not true. With these pre-made fans, we've had no problems with the extensions lasting as long as handmade fans. It just makes your life easier and you can lash faster if the fans are made for you already, but the only downside is they do end up costing you a little bit more in product. Since the fans are already made in the tray, you do end up using more trays for a full set compared to if you were to hand make your fans. Now again, it's pro and con in the beginning. If you want to save on product or save on time, that's kind of your preference. I also know a lot of people do stick to pre-made fans in the long run just for the speed and the easiness factor of it. And then in their free time, they do actually practice and do a lot of handmade fans. So once you can kind of get that really smooth and make your handmade fans almost like a fan every few seconds without struggling, then it's good to hand make your fans for a full set instead. Now we used a little bit of the blue sensitive tapes to pull the eye out the inner corner so we can see those little baby lashes. We did choose to use a length 9 in the inner corner, and I would say that's probably the longest I recommend for you to ever use for inner corner. Anything longer than that, it ends up looking really funny. And the reason why we used a 9 and nothing shorter is because we are using pretty long lengths throughout the eye, up to 15. So we didn't want the inner corners to look so short compared to the rest of the eyelashes. One other thing I want you guys to know is when we're gluing the fan onto the natural eyelash, we are focusing for the base of the eyelash to be stuck on there, not the curl part of it, okay? Because a lot of times the client's eyelash curl and the extension curl will vary. So it's okay if the tips are not attached as long as the base is attached. And we want to make sure we are about 1 millimeter or 2 away from the skin. We are not touching the skin. One thing I love about volume sets is how nice and full they start looking even after like 10-15 fans, especially when they're bigger fans on the bigger side, like a 6D. It's just pretty satisfying. And I would say 6D is on average the thickness of a fan that we like to use for an average volume set. I think it gives it the perfect fullness without it being mega volume. One other thing to note is if you're not sure what I mean by 6D, is that means that there is 6 individual hairs in that fan. So there's 6 pieces of hairs that's making a fan. I would say this is by far the easiest way to do a volume set if you're starting out lashing, okay, is by using pre-made fans. It is good to start here because you do learn how to control a fan, how to glue them properly, how to work with the curved or the L-shaped tweezers to hold the whole fan. I don't know, I think it's a great place to start. Again, it's also great for speed because when you have clients, you don't want them to be waiting 4-5 hours for a full set. The most you want them to wait is about 2.5 hours, because more than that, they're definitely going to start getting antsy and not really prefer you as a lash artist. And again, quality is better than quantity. So you do want to do quality work, but it is tricky to find that balance between doing quality work, but not spending too much time where your clients are getting impatient, right? So you just kind of want to find that balance. And of course, with practice, you're going to get faster and be able to apply more. So if you're starting out with volume, I would say first, for your clients, you can use pre-made fans, and then on your free time or anytime you have downtime, at least 20 minutes a day, practice hand making fans to get faster at that. But don't be ashamed of using pre-made fans even in the beginning, or if you've been doing it for a while, because as long as your sets look really nice, who cares what lash you're using, if you're hand making it or pre-making it, or using easy fanning lashes like the Yegi Mega Volume lashes. All of it can give you similar looks with different kind of technique. Now we're going to use the blue tape to lift up our eyelid a little bit for the outer corner in order to get all of those natural eyelashes. I would say tape is your best friend when it comes to wanting to get into all the corners and making sure you're lashing more easily and isolating more easily. So play around with the angles of the tape and how you lift the eyelid and move it around in order for you to see all the natural eyelashes so you can apply extensions on them. But one thing you always want to make sure is that you're not lifting the eye open, because if you are lifting the eye open, that's when the fumes of the adhesive can get into the eye and cause irritation, tearing, and all that negative stuff, and redness, right? So we want to avoid that, because the more comfortable your clients are, the better it's going to be for you. They're going to be more comfortably laying down, possibly falling asleep, and you can lash in peace. If they're uncomfortable, you do sense that, and then your lash sets will reflect on that. We are also using the flower glue ring for this set, and again, that's preference. You can use any glue holder to your liking in order to do the volume set. So we'll usually prefer using a glue ring because it's just more compact and close to where we're lashing. I think it helps with speed, but there are people and lash artists who prefer to have their glue next to them on a different glue holder or a jade stone or something like that. So make sure that you're doing what works for you. But if you are using a glue ring, you do want to make sure that you're putting little glue in there at a time, and you're switching your glue out about every 15-20 minutes to make sure it's fresh and it's not going to get kind of tacky and not work with you for the retention. Of course, when we're doing lash sets, retention is very important, because we don't want to do a whole set and then it doesn't last at least the 3 to 4 weeks until they need to come for a fill. If they need a fill within a week or so, it's going to be a lot of it's going to be more costly for the client, and then it might not be worth it, right? And for you too, when you do nice work, you want it to last. A few other things about glue is you want to make sure you are checking your humidity, you are checking the temperature in your room. All of that can work with you or against you. The adhesive we're using for this set is the Yegi transparent adhesive, and it has specific humidity and temperature. But on average, you do want to keep your room at about like 72 degrees. I think that's a good average for most adhesives. And then your humidity, like about between 40-45% humidity, is a good place to be for most adhesives. But make sure you're following manufacturer's instructions for your adhesive to work best. One other thing I love to do is I love to have the Yegi Premium adhesive, which is a black adhesive, on hand, because that one has a really nice wide range of humidity and temperature. So if whatever other adhesive I'm using is not working for me at the moment, I'm almost guaranteed that adhesive is going to work well. Here's a perfect example of how to isolate nice and white so you could see that natural eyelash clearly, and how we press on the extension on top of the natural eyelash. Now we have to control and make sure we do not stick the extension onto the skin. It is at least tiny bit away from the skin. Here's an example of how you can glue the fan underneath the client's natural eyelash. So this is a good technique to have if a client has pretty curly eyelashes, or for some reason you cannot glue the extension on top, you can't get it nicely on there. Underneath is a great option. Even next to the eyelash is okay. As long as the base is attached, it doesn't have to be straight on top of the natural eyelash. We are also using like a little pinch at the end to bond the extension with the adhesive to the natural eyelash. Now that's optional, you don't have to do that, the glue bonds already, but for this lash tech she prefers doing that. It could be a habit type of thing, but feel free to just leave it after you have applied it. But if you feel like you want to give it a little squeeze to really bond everything together, again, that's another technique that you can use. Now, lastly, when we are done with applying to every single one of the client's natural eyelashes, of course, we want to avoid the very tiny baby eyelashes. We don't have to put extensions on there. Our last step is to use a super bonder and seal everything in. So this is going to ensure everything is cured. There's no downtime. The client can go ahead and do whatever they want right after the appointment. You're pretty much done. We just dry it. So you want to dry before the super bonder for about 2 to 3 minutes, and then after you apply the super bonder, you want to dry the eyelashes again for another 2 to 3 minutes. All right, and then now we're gonna move on to the next eye. So this gives you guys a little bit of a different angle so you can see more details of how we're working with eyelashes, and hopefully as you watch you can learn and be better lash artists, right? So honestly, a lot of times we do learn with our brain mentally than physically, so even just watching these videos can make you a better lash artist, because our brains connect things together differently, and when it comes time for us to actually perform it, we do a better job. If you have an eyelash like that is growing to the side, in this example, this eyelash is growing towards the right, the place you want to glue the extension or the fan on is on the left side of that eyelash, because you want the extension to still be directed and going straight. If you do glue it on crooked, almost like to the right where that natural eyelash is going, your set is going to look messy. So you do want to redirect by gluing the extension on the left side of this eyelash and having it sit straight on the lash line. Now that the lashes are sitting pretty full, we are going to focus on the inner and outer corners. First, we're going to pull using the blue sensitive tape for the inner corners, and we're going to apply on all those little lashes. And it is super important to do the inner corners because it does make the eye look complete and the eye look bigger. If we skip this step, our set can look incomplete or the eye can look smaller, which is not why people are getting eyelash extensions. Now, next thing we're going to do after we complete the inner corners is we're going to pull up the outer corner and apply on any of the eyelashes that are missing there. Now we are about done, so we're going to go ahead and we give it a really nice dry. So you do want to dry the eyelashes for a good 2 to 3 minutes to make sure all the fumes and everything is gone before your client opens her eyes or his eyes, because unless the eyelashes are pretty dry, it will feel uncomfortable for the client. Again, we do want to seal everything in with the Yegi Super Bonder. This is going to go ahead and make sure that, again, if there are any fumes, it's going to get rid of that. It's going to cure. It's going to make the eyelashes feel even more comfortable when they open their eyes. But again, the key thing with the Super Bonder is to make sure that your client is going to have no downtime. So right after the set is done, they can go on with their life. They can swim, shower, and do all of that, and the glue is cured and set, and it will not get in the way of retention. And bam, here's my favorite part, the reveal, when they first open their eyes and you see the results of your hard work. Well, I hope you guys enjoyed this tutorial. Look how fun it is to see a natural classic set and a volume set. And if you need a classic 101 tutorial where we break down everything, make sure to check out the link below of our natural beautiful classic set right here. But here it is. I hope you guys enjoyed. Please let me know. Comment below if you have questions, and I'll see you guys next week.